Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2. Hey there, hi there, ho there. And hold that thought. Ah, darn it. Just a thought. It's typical. I just got a telephone call. Here. Yay. Well, that was embarrassing. Oh, okay. Hey there, hi there, ho there. This is RHJunior, RHJunior Reality Check Live, coming to you live over the internet through the system of tube known as YouTube, bringing you an example of the boob tube, a little project, a little broadcast, a little show I like to call Spleen Squeezins. Run, 2, 3, 4. I'm still figuring this out. Hey, guess what? I've got new graphics. Oh, it's so exciting, isn't it? A little something for you to look at while I'm flapping my lips. I haven't quite figured out how to get the. Vocal audio to go out through the sound effect, but you know, this thing bebops along to the music. So what you're looking here on the screen is called a program called Plane 9. www.plane9.com. PLANE number 9. And it's a free program, you can download it, but I believe they have a more expanded version that you can get. I'm not sure what the prices are, but a very nifty little program. It doubles as a visualizer. That's the word I've been looking for, trying to find something that would play along as I started a visualization program. And this is it'll serve as a screensaver, it'll work in a window on its own, etc., etc. It'll even play in those virtual reality glasses they have out now. Isn't that exciting? Anyway, there we go. Takes it a little bit to switch over from image to image. I'm eating my dinner. It's a roast beef sandwich. Nom 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 nom. Where does my roast beef go? My roast beef is absconded with itself. Oh, there it is. I've discovered that yes, I can get deli meats with my card, so that means I can eat fresh, you know. Man, I heard about the Notre Dame burning down. Apparently, there are Muslims out in the streets cheering as it burns down. Down with the Crusader. Down with the symbol of the Crusader, etc., etc. For me, it's always been a symbol of the Hunchback of Notre Dame. I don't know. I'm going to have to tweak the stuff inside of the settings on that program to get it to work right. And to work to my satisfaction, rather. New chapter of the Great Alicorn Hunt is up for anybody interested. Even if you're not interested, it's up. I know I'm excited. I'm all on Twitter. Got a doctor's appointment Thursday. Let's put it this way, I'm spending the time fretting over whether I'll be able to fit myself into a pair of sweat shorts or whether I'll have to wear a hospital gown and bathrobe to attempt to make the trip. I'm also fretting over whether they'll actually send out a vehicle that can carry me. It's not a good thing. It's just so tiresome sometimes. It really is. Now, program is really random. I'll be happy if it just doesn't lock up or anything. I'll be happy with that. What's big in the news? I don't know. Oh, let me make a recommendation here. A friend of mine by the name of Daniel Meyer. His book is on sale, $16.95 if you're a Amazon Prime user. $16.95 on Amazon.com. Grab yourself a copy. His book is The Life is a Road, The Soul is a Motorcycle. Guy is a dedicated, I've got to say, devoted motorcycle aficionado. Years of experience. The man has led what I could only term a very lived life. Works in one business, started another. Is renovating a 100-year-old Victorian house. Makes a hobby of riding cross-country on a Goldwing motorcycle. A Goldwing is basically one of those long touring, it's a touring bike. he has some rather extraordinary story. Excuse me. Well, he has got some rather extraordinary stories to tell about his time on the road. Let me tell you. I think the most legendary one is his story about the time he encountered a rural squirrel. You know, you want to find out. Just ask him about the squirrel story. If you aren't peeing your pants in 10 minutes, you know, you're not paying attention. And that's all I'll say about that. Oh, in the news, my middle niece, Emily Hollingsworth, she is now licensed to drive in the state of Ohio. Well, she's also licensed everywhere else, but you know. So everybody, clear out the sidewalks. She's coming through. Let's see what else is in here. And they celebrated my dad's 70th birthday. 70 years. Oh, they celebrated it over the weekend. You know, there was the only time that the girls and you know, my sister and everybody could all get up there together. So they did it, and my, he's 70, I'm 48, and oh my, he's a great grandpa, or pawpaw, as the shirt they gave him says. And there's Brenna with the baby, and Brenna brought the baby for them all to see. Oh my! I'm still getting used to the idea that those girls aren't into baby dolls anymore. You know. Paw, they got him a shirt, it's a black shirt with white lettering that says Paw, because grandfather is for old guys. Four generations. I'm not going to show you any pictures, you know, I don't have their permission to show you their pictures, so I'm not going to be showing you anything. Got the final season of Game of Thrones on Hulu. I'm so excited, I just almost wet myself. I couldn't, you know, I can't say I don't care, because knowing about it annoys me. So I've never watched an episode of that show. I've never watched an episode of that show, and yet somehow it has pushed its way into my life, you know? Pushed its way into the cultural corners of my life, and I resent it. guy who was supposed to show up and mow my lawn yesterday never showed up, and he didn't show up today, and I don't have his number. I was dumb. I was stupid. He came over, he visited. Oh, yeah, great. For 45 bucks, I'll mow your lawn. I said, great. I'll pay you when the job's done. He said, great. I'll be back Monday. And it's Monday, and he's not here. Now it's what, Tuesday? Oh, thank goodness. I was worried it was Wednesday for a minute. Well, it's Tuesday, and he's still not here. And he's not called either. And doggone it, it's just stupid machines. I swear, what is it with, you know, I swear, it's like YouTube, you know, it's like the instant that the company Google got a hold of YouTube, they said, let's find everything about this service that people like and ruin it. Difficult to use. Let's screw up the monetization. Let's, instead of being a platform for everyone, let's turn it into yet another attempt at watchdogging and gatekeeping. Yeah. Okay, this music, I don't know what the music is. I don't know what to do about the music. If I turn it down too much, the graphic thingy doesn't exactly, well, it just randomizes. Fine, whatever. Don't care. I'm trying to talk. I'm sitting here resting. I'm trying to gather my energy, and as always, I feel like, well, of course, I stuffed a sandwich down my face. I'm probably still just loggy from having to digest it. Okay, we got two people in channel. One of them has spoken. Ben Shakar. Okay. Let's see if I can boot up the art program. I feel like, I don't know. Well, I'm just, well, I'm legs hurt. My feet hurt. Got a heat rash. That's loads of fun. This chair is designed to be. This chair is apparently a factory reject. It is not comfortable for me to sit in. It's not comfortable to sit in. But I sit in it because it's the only chair I have that will hold up my weight. I've got a choice. I've got a choice between badly made chairs and broken chairs. So the guy who was supposed to mow my lawn never showed up. He was supposed to give me information on somebody who could do some odd jobs around here, including hauling trash away. He never gave me the information. I'm supposed to be going to the doctor's office to see about filing to get a therapy. Basically, you got passed to go to the arbors for a couple of weeks of therapy to get my legs back, shrunken back down to normal. They hurt. My feet feel like swollen balloons. And my legs are, it's and I'm tired all the time because I lie down. I can only lie down so long because my legs hurt so much. I don't have, I have a futon bed, and it's a prehistoric thing, and it's all, it's halfway broken down. And I can't. I have a couple of leg cushions I could foam wedges I could try and put my feet up, but I can't even fit them under my legs. I'm trying to figure out a way to get in bed and get the things under my legs so my feet are elevated. But I wouldn't be able to sleep that way either. All that crap. All of that crap. It's all the time. It never lets up. I risk, I can still just barely get in and out of my shower. It's a tub shower. I hate the damn thing. I hate it. I want to break the legs of whoever decided to the brilliant idea of putting a bathtub in a trailer. If it was a walk-in shower stall, it would be no problem. But it's not. And it would cost me an unspeakable fortune to hire somebody to come in, rip the tub out, and turn it into a shower stall. I can't even find somebody who will show up to tack up the skirting torn off my trailer by the wind on a regular basis. I'm just really angry right now. I'm angry and I'm tired and I'm frustrated. I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit up and curl up. I just want to curl up and sleep for a week. That's half the reason I'm trying to get the stay in the arbors. For therapy for my leg, just so I can sleep in a non-broken down bed with my feet elevated properly, so that I can just rest. You can never rest when your health is messed up. You can't. When your legs are swollen, or your back is thrown out, or any of those other things that come with being older. because you hurt and you hurt and you hurt and you hurt. And you try and get comfortable, and you're comfortable for maybe 15 minutes, and then something else starts hurting because you're sleeping on it wrong. And they wonder why older people start doing, drugs. What's up, Anthrozo Warrior? Welcome to the channel, Anthrozo Warrior. What's up, Anthrozo Warrior? I'm in a whiny, whiny, crappy mood. And you? How's every little thing for you? As you can see, I've got a new graphic thingamajiggy playing in the background. It's called plane9.com. Go to plane9.com and you can download it. It's free. It has just like about a gazillion different combinations of screensaver and visualizer that it can play. And I haven't figured out how to run my audio voice through it. It's only responding to the music playing. So, but there you have it. It's different. It's something. I'm sitting here. I don't want to do anything. I just sit here. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything. I don't. Oh, well, according to this news outlet, 259 people between 2011 and 2017 died. 260 people died while stepping in front of the camera in often dangerous deaths. They killed selfie deaths. And he's saying, selfie deaths are an epidemic. 300 people in 6 years. It's 200 people a year worldwide. There are probably more people that get, there are probably more people that die from getting a straw stuck up their nose. I swear, these so-called internet journalists, they're no better than the ones in the old press, in the old media. If anything, they're shallower because they measure the popularity of their story by the hour rather than by the week. Of course, these so-called web journalists are all the ones that the old press is trying to push into the internet. Gotta go out there and pee around the corners of their new territory, don't you know? Little aphid flew up my nose. Little gnome seams flew up my nose. Stuff as I head up there. I'm not feeling good. I haven't felt good in weeks, but I'm really not feeling good right now. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about whining at you. Like, nobody wants to turn on the news and say, I feel like crap today. No one wants to turn on, Tom Brokaw. Let me tell you about my lumbago. No. I do not know what lumbago is. It sounds exotic. Possibly French. Hurting. I sit up, I hurt. I lie down, I hurt. I'm supposed to be going to the doctor Thursday. He's supposed to give me a writ so that I can go to, so that I can use my Medicaid to go to the Arbors for prolonged therapy. The last time I was there, it took me 2 weeks. It took 2 weeks for my legs to shrink down back to normal. They're bigger than ever now, so it probably, it'll take at least 2 weeks. If this goes through, I'm probably going to be nearly incommunicado. I'll be dragging along my computer, so my laptop, so that I can try and do some things, keep in touch, maybe do some writing. If I remember all the little peripherals like the stylus and my Wacom tablet, I'll be able to do maybe a little drawing. Or I may go to the doctor and he says, okay, but we're not going to send you, he says, we're not going to send you to the Arbors. We're going to... Okay. Previous to the Arbors, they tried to send me to weekly therapy class, therapy, which basically consists of me driving across town twice a week so somebody could massage my legs for a half hour. Guess how little that helped. Guess how expensive it was. And guess how impossible it is now. Because I don't have a working vehicle. So, I don't know. There is nothing happening in pop culture right now that I want to talk about. Nothing. Nothing that I haven't talked about 1,000 times before. I'm still waiting for him to pull the stick out and go ahead and put Godzilla on Netflix or on whatever, on somewhere on the internet, so I can download and watch it. It's the only one I'm really interested in at the moment. I wouldn't mind seeing Shazam. I kind of worry though. I kind of suspect that this is one of the big problems they have with movies these days, is that they literally put all the best moments in the trailers. I remember when Spirit, the Spirit, the Disney movie about the horse. When it came out, they literally came out with a trailer that had clips. It literally told the entire story from beginning to end. It showed the little foal and the little colt, and getting captured, and and them trying to break him to the saddle, and he escapes with the Indian, and even the final farewell. And the horses, and the Indian rider, is wishing a final farewell to the horse. I will never forget you, spirit who would not be broken of dancing. And they showed the whole movie in the trailers. There should be a log. It's And what's worse is when they have the best scenes in the trailers, and you go there, and some of the scenes in the trailers never show up in the movie. Hated that. Yeah. Hated it. You say, you read the latest chapter of Lady Bird? Good stuff. Wondering how they'll play together? I'm assuming you mean Lady Bird and Void Cowboy, a.k.a. Taylor Hebert and Greg Vedder. I'll reveal this much, is that Greg Vedder is... in the books and in the story, Greg Vedder, Taylor Hebert regarded Greg Vedder as kind of a kind of annoying and kind of creepy. He's a nerd loner, what we call borderline autistic. Now, that's really not fair, every time we talk about people who just with horrible social skills, the go-to thing everybody says is, oh, he's autistic, or he's got borderline, he's like Asperger's syndrome, and that's, first of all, that's not right. Talk about your armchair, your armchair analysis, We really, cringeworthy behavior we're talking about. People who behave in just awkwardly and awfully, and for years I tried to think of a term for this, but going on the internet and they come up with the term cringy, and I'm like, bang. That's it. That's the term for it. When you see somebody do something, you go, oh. Or you remember something really stupid you did, and you went, ew. And no matter how many years have passed, you still think about it, and you just shrivel inside. And there are so many people that they seem to be oblivious. To how their behavior is socially transgression, is a social transgression rather. Me, I'm spit out words, But somebody who's cringy is somebody who is willfully or not, they are oblivious to how their behavior transgresses social norms. Like some guy who some teenage guy who thinks nothing of giving his grandmother, a tongue kiss. Everybody said, hey! And he's like, what? All these people that, cringy basically sums it up. Greg Vedder is an example of a cringy nerd. And Taylor isn't going to be... I don't think Taylor's going to be very tolerant of him. She put up with him when they were both in school, both in Winslow High School, because what was she gonna do? She felt bad for him, but she still didn't want to have anything to do with him or be around him. But he was always there. Because he and she both were like bottom rung of the social ladder. complete outcasts. So they always ended up at the same table, or sitting in the same corner of the room. And she's aware that he was trying to show interest, but she was like, no. And now she's become a member of the wards. She's a superhero, and oh darn it, program fall down, go boom. Fix that. And here he is, and now he's been transmogrified. He's being signed up to the wards, and because they are both transformed into what they're going to be pushed together, whether they want to be or not. And he's basically as well as being kind of a creepy nerd from her perspective, he's also a reminder of all the bad, terrible things that she had to put up with while she was at school. And yeah, that's going to be kind of rough. There's going to, she's going to have to reach a point where she's going to have to develop some sympathy for Greg. Even before she's able to tolerate being around him. Greg, on the other hand, it's going to be a pain. It's going to be kind of a painful awakening for both of them. Greg's only just had it dawn on him that he's always known that he's an outcast. But it's like most outcasts, he's gotten by telling himself it's not all that bad. These people, that it really isn't that terrible. That there's people out there that like me. I'm not that bad. I'm okay. I'm cool. But he sort of had it slammed in his face in the worst way possible. That he was no different than the rest of the stand back in the background crowd. Taylor's going to have to realize that he's going to have to realize, he's going to have to learn how to interact with people on a better level. I'm trying to fish for what I'm trying to fish for the words to say what I'm saying is. Well, let's be blunt. He doesn't want to be a nerd. He doesn't want to be an Asperger outcast. He doesn't want to be this cringeworthy loser. He knows that he is. He's been told it often enough. He's had it pushed in his face. But he has no. in the same way that an autistic person can't, has trouble reading facial expressions. He can't, he can't read the social signals. He doesn't know how. He's what I would call a social autistic, rather than a congenital autistic. Somebody who actually has a neurochemical condition. He's been acclimated into being autistic. He has no circle of friends. The few people he does associate with, are as much a wreck as he is. He doesn't know how to step outside that place he's in, because he's never been taught. He's never been around people who are good with interpersonal interaction. So in the end, the end result is the same as if he'd been born autistic. And worse, it's reinforcing. He doesn't know how to behave around other people. Other people don't want to be around him, so he's never around people to learn any different. So he just gets worse. Well, welcome to the alchemy of adolescence in Western civilization. Ironically, he's going to get along quite well with Armsmaster. Canonically, Armsmaster, once again, an overused term, he's autistic. There's no other term for it. He's, whether you want to blame his power or whether you just want to blame him, canonically, Armsmaster does not know how to socially interact. Consequence is he has to be coached constantly. He comes across as rude and offensive without even trying. He can't, he literally, it reached a point where canonically he has put a computer program in his armor that uses things like that scans for things like uses facial recognition and voice recognition to scan for visual and verbal cues, and puts up little pop-up windows to indicate other people's moods or temperament. He's that bad at interacting with other people without offending them. He's going to find something of a kindred spirit in Greg. He's going to find him annoying as everybody else does, but he's also going to realize that, yeah, this kid is me at that age. I'm sorry, I tend to pause too much. I've noticed that. I listened to one of my last broadcasts, and I'm like, I pause too much when I talk. I take too long I run on sentences. I use fragmented sentences. I stutter. I repeat myself. I stammer. I'm not going to. I'm pretty sure I'm never going to make it as a radio personality or even an internet blogger. So, there you go. Oh, what do they call them? Vloggers now. there are going to be several. There are several other characters that are going to be metamorphosed, like Ladybird and Void Cowboy were. I'm trying to keep the tone in that one a little more lighthearted, truthfully. Celestia and Luna aren't working off of some, vast, complicated plan. It's just that they are, they are waiting for something in particular to happen. I'll say that much. They've already, they already know what's wrong. They've already taken measures to try and fix it, and they're waiting for something in particular to happen, for something to arrive. But in the meanwhile, they're kind of amusing themselves by poking things with a stick here and there. They haven't picked out Greg Vader and Taylor Hebert because, these two will perfectly suit our vast these two will perfectly suit our vast, complicated master plan. It's more like, ooh, that one looks interesting. Oh, let's try this one. How about this one over here? Beep, They're like a toddler picking toppings for a sundae, okay? Ooh, excuse me. Chunky lungs, yay. This. Okay, let's take a look at this. I've got to go look up here. I may have to turn off that graphics program. It's kind of slowing everything down big time. Let's see, Kruger. Recetier. Pad. Oh, I figured out what was wrong with my printer. The USB port wasn't plugged in. I think I'm going to go ahead and shut this off. Darn it, just decided to shut this program off. It doesn't want to run right now, this stupid thing. artists are masochists. They've got to be. They add enough layers of clothing. $15,000 different little things you have to, all the little details you just have to get right. Or some fanatic goes, "This is missing. You missed her 13th button on her upper coat," and you know. Her toes are wrong. Meanwhile, the actual artists have drawn the hands on the characters with 6 fingers and 2 thumbs. No lie. They've actually, you know, there are people who just point out they you know, all the animation errors in some of these shows. The characters suddenly sprouting extra fingers is just the least of it. I look at anime. Their frames per second. You know, you watch a typical anime, the frames per second for most of the animation scenes is dismal. It's so slow, it might as well be a flip book. Flip, 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 flip. See, her mouth is moving. Flip, 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 flip. I have no idea what her wings look like. They make no sense. No, we'll work on that. Found another character that people, I think, undeservedly hate on. The character's name is... The character is from My Hero Academia. His name is Manita. M-I-N-E-T-A. His superhero name is Grape Juice, of all things. His power is pop-off. He grows these spheres on the top of his head. These, you know, basically sticky globes, and he can pop them off and throw them at things. And that's pretty much it for his power. And he's a scrawny little shrimp. He's practically a dwarf or a midget. He's also the prerequisite anime, the mandatory anime cast pervert. He's always hitting on girls and making lewd comments and getting the crap kicked out of him for it. And man, oh man, the feminists and white knights in the fandom community. Oh, good lord. I've read two different stories currently where where the writer deliberately wrote Manita out of the story, put him on the bus, you know, had the teachers throw him out of school because he was a molester and a pervert, and that he's a sexual harasser, and we don't need to, so on and so forth. Now here's some food for thought. Here's some food for thought. It's unsurprising that the feminists and people who get their chains jerked by the feminist movement are so vehemently opposed to this character. It's almost like a mandatory requirement for them to, if we don't hate on this character, we'll get our feminist rights card revoked or something. But ask yourself this: now, which is more respectful of women's power and women's ability to be strong and independent? Which is more respectful? Which is more respectful of the strong, independent woman? A, the original manga and anime, where you have a joke character. He's a pervert and a lech, but he's also a joke character. He's deliberately made pathetic, and the female members of the cast either ignore him or casually slap him down whenever he gets out of line. They don't, because they don't need any man to take care of them. It's like, psh. Or B, the fandom, the fan fictions, where all the girls are traumatized by how this horrible, scary pervert has been saying awful things about them, and they need the, big, brave, strong, patriarchal institution to come in and save them from him. He's a 13-year-old horn dog. I'm so frightened. These girls are supposed to be superheroes. They're supposed to go out and throw down with rapists and robbers and murderers, and somehow they're utterly incapable of handling one shrimpy little over hormoned teenage boy. And the school has to come in and protect them from him. This isn't behavior we should encourage. Well, it's not encouraging it. The character in question, Maeda, is looked down on by the other characters, male and female, for behaving the way he does. He's disparaged for it, both in the story and metatextually. But they don't make him into a scary, horrible ogre that the brave, independent women are incapable of handling on their own. Yeah, that's the big difference between the social justice warrior view of the world and everybody else, but in particular the anime view of the world. In a social justice warrior cartoon, the women all, some guy makes a rude gesture to them or slaps them on the butt, they all burst into tears and run off in hysterics and hold a candlelit vigil where they all moan and wail about the patriarchy oppressing them. Until the villain is ridden out of town on a rail. In regular anime, when some guy acts like a pervert, they whip out a mallet, knock him over the horizon, and get on with life. I also like how this 13-year-old boy, is supposed to have his entire life destroyed forever because he hasn't yet learned how to behave himself. Now, if he had actually done something, if he was actually going around molesting the characters, I'd be like, stomp on him. Yeah, kick his ass. Primarily because he's not the only one behaving lewdly in the show either, but he's the only one that gets any attention for it. I'll talk about that in a minute, but he's 13 years old. You gotta wonder what his parents are like if he's behaving like that around women normally. They're perfectly fine. The people that do this, they're perfectly fine with the idea of keeping. Oh, we've got to keep Bakugan. He's such an interesting character. Kachan, we've got to keep Kachan because he's such an important, antagonist. He's the main protagonist's rival, and we can't write him out. Despite the fact that he's a violent bully with an explosive rage disorder. Oh, and let's talk hypocrisy. These same women that get all bent out of shape over Manita, they're perfectly fine with the character. They don't seem to have anything to say about the character of Midnight. Midnight, for those who don't know, in My Hero Academia is an adult heroine, rather. Her power is that her skin secretes a knockout gas. But she's also an exhibitionist, a sadomasochist, and she dresses in a leather fetish bondage-themed costume and is constantly making lewd comments about the young men in the show. 13-year-old boy with a lewd potty mouth, horror of the city, we've got to bring, all the forces of justice against him. Full-grown adult nymphopedo who is a teacher. Oh, that's no big deal. She's just an uninhibited woman. Those who have watched the show know that, Manita, like the rest of the cast, is actually growing as a character. He's maturing just a little bit. Among other things, he's learning. He reveals that the reason that he tried to, the reason he applied to the academy to be a superhero is because he wanted to be popular with girls. But the thing was, he was frankly, he was a shrimp. A stunted little runt with a joke power. No chance in hell with any female whatsoever. He figured being a hero was his only chance at ever having a girlfriend. Ever. And he literally took that joke power and leveraged it so that he won his way through. If you've ever seen a series, they go through 3 or 4 different exams, challenges, which are basically battles for their life. The entrance exam was where the entire applying class, all the kids who were applying to attend the school, had to go into a mocked-up city and battle an army of robots. And they were scored by how many robots they took down. And they ranged from human-sized robots all the way up to, human-sized, tank-sized, and all the way up to a gigantic, 30-story high robot monster. And he actually managed to score enough. He actually managed to take down enough robots to get into the academy. He's placed in the upper percentage of his class. It's canonical. He's one of the highest scoring for his classwork. And in all the exams, he's managed to pull through, despite having, in the academy test, in the provisional licensing exam, in the, about 4 or 5 times they've had to go into these gigantic battle royales, and he's not only survived, but he's won them. Just by using his wits and leveraging. He's a coward. He's a coward, and a tactless lech. But he's also got brains running out his ears. And when the clutch is down, he actually shows courage. And comes to the aid of his fellow classmates. Say what you will about me. I do tend to sort of adopt the loser characters in various books and shows and stuff. Maybe I relate to them too much on some level. I always feel that, 9 times out of 10, they're not really given a fair shake or fair break. I hated watching Charlie Brown cartoons as a kid. I liked Charlie Brown, the character, but I hated watching his cartoons because he never won. He never won. His so-called friends treated him like crap. The only time he got invited to a birthday party was by mistake. And that's incredibly sad. He never got nobody ever sent him a Valentine. Nobody ever... nobody ever invited him to a party. And any time he trusted somebody, they'd yank the football out from under his foot again. He never won a baseball game. And the one time he did win, it turned out that they had to forfeit because one of the players had bet on the outcome of the game for a nickel. He's just a guy, he never wins. Just let him win once, You know, the real clincher? The real clincher? There was one Charlie Brown special where they played a football game. And wouldn't you know, he had to kick for a field goal 2 or 3 times in the game. 2 or 3 different times in the game he had to kick the football. And guess who they had hold the ball every time? Lucy. And guess what she did? This wasn't wasn't a little sandlot game. This was the real deal. They were in a stadium full of people, watching what this horrible little girl did. Watched her lose the game for everyone by yanking the football out from under, away from Charlie Brown as he was going to make the winning kick, the winning field goal kick. And the game ends with everybody blaming Charlie Brown. And this is the point where most of us started writing up fantasy stories where Lucy is put through a ritual killing. I mean, even when the rules were on his, even when everything was on his side, when everybody was watching what was going on, he could not win. I'm like, damn it, Charles Schultz. Have pity on your own progeny. For those who are wondering, this is an interesting factoid I learned. Lucy was based on Charles Schultz's ex-wife. Enough said. I still hate that little piano-leaning bitch. You know that? I mean, absolutely despise her.
This knife has a straight edge on it, so it's very easy. And maybe in our world here, there lives a happy little mountain.
It's just my point, and I did have one. There's so many characters, they never get a break. For some reason, They just magnetize hate towards themselves when they don't even deserve it. Meanwhile, the ones that do deserve contempt and loathing have all sorts of fandoms and and Facebook groups and oh, Severus Snape, if only you had been mine. Just, Draco in leather pants, it's called. Oh, you're such a sexy beast. You're such a sexy beast, Draco. Oi. And gets it yanked away. He's never allowed to win unless he loses even harder afterwards. How many of you remember the cartoon Dungeons and Dragons back in the 80s? I love that thing. I couldn't wait for it to come on the air. You remember Eric the Cavan the what was his name? Eric the Cavalier, the one with the shield. I love how they gave him a shield but didn't give him anything to fight with. I'm like, could we talk about this, please? But anyway, Eric was supposed to be the team jerk. He was always obnoxious, he was always rude, he was always the one, that circumstances coincided so that he was always wrong. As the writers noted years later, the thing of it is that Eric was the only one that showed any common sense. Here comes a dragon, let's run the other way. Kind of common sense. And he was always getting punished for it. But back in the 80s, there was a thing. It was a thing. It was a literal thing that all children's television programming was required to do, because it was one of the the media watchdogs, the concerned parents and so forth. These concerned parent groups that have no actual parents in them. But anyway, they were. I'm trying to think of what the term was. Basically, the rule was that they're that there had to be one character who was always the outsider, and the outsider was always to be wrong. It was a literal requirement of any children's show made at that time. And if that doesn't creep you the hell out, you're not paying attention. And you remember, every single show had one character who was supposed to be, you know, the obnoxious outcast, and no matter what, they were in the wrong. I think it ended with like the era of Captain Planet. They finally pushed it too far, and they had one character, Bob, you know, the American kid with the fire ring. He was always wrong about everything, and they finally played it too hard because they had him one side where he took, you know, at the start of the episode he took one side in the argument. At the end of the episode he took the other side of the argument, and both times his teammates got all over him. You know, how could you say such a thing? That's, you know, he could not be right no matter what. Even if the lesson of the week was exceptionally stupid. It was basically a Shut Up American TV show. Man, that show was crap. When it first started out, it had things, you know, like, you know, recycle your paper, and little things like don't let your water run, you know, don't leave your taps running, and, you know, turn off those extra lights, that kind of thing. But then as they went on, it just frickin' nuts. The last time I watched Captain Planet shows, and they had an episode that was about overpopulation. And the kids were riding a carnival ride through, World Day Carnival, and and they showed, one of the graphics was 3 babies sucking on straws stuck into a globe of the planet Earth, and and it was going on, the average American baby will, the average European or American baby will consume 35% more, percent more resources than, and they show the white baby, sucking up all the stuff on the planet and getting bigger and bigger and bigger than all the other babies. And I was like, okay, click. That was the end of it. The protagonist, Wheeler, that was his name, the white American kid with the fire element ring. He has a dream that he and the Russian girl get married, and and they destroy the planet by having too many babies, and it's all his fault, Sick, diseased. Look, let me spell it out for you. There have been famines on this earth caused by natural disasters, arguably. There have been famines caused by war, by tyranny, by ruinous taxation. That was the real cause of the potato famine in Ireland. The British were literally taxing them into starvation. The only thing they had left to eat was potatoes because the British didn't want them. And then the potatoes started dying. The British were evil fucks. Let's make no bones about it. There have been thousands. There have been. Pardon my language, by the way, but man, the things the British did to the Irish people. They're yet to pay a pittance of the sin they owe. There have been thousands of famines caused by all sorts of things, and I've seen famines caused by everything, up to and including, and it's almost always traceable back to the greed or incompetence of the leadership. I have never once seen a famine caused by too many babies. Population density has nothing to do with it. Japan is the most densely populated the most densely populated nation on the planet. They are net exporters of food. Meanwhile, countries that barely have one person to a square mile are starving to death. You'll have to excuse me here. Just getting something to drink here. But, according to the Captain Planet show, there was absolutely nothing you could do. Absolutely no form of progress which wasn't evil. They even had an episode where the bad guys were building a hydroelectric dam, and it was evil and monstrous because it was going to kill all the animals and plants in the valley. Well, tough luck for the plants, but most animals can walk uphill. There's, if it benefits humanity, if it's actually beneficial to humanity rather than being a symbolic sop, they will fight it tooth and nail to the death. They don't love nature, they hate humanity. It's a bitter thing. It's a bitter thing. I'm sorry to be calling. I've said this before. I am a terrible announcer, radio spokesperson. I pause too much. I stop talking too long. I ramble on my subjects. I stutter. I repeat myself. I remember people telling me, "Oh, you have such a wonderful voice. You'd be so great on radio." And I'm like, seriously? I was flattered at the time, but now I'm going like, yeah, right. The guy that was supposed to mow my lawn on Monday never showed up. I don't have his number, so I can't call him to find out what was wrong. And so for all I know, he's going to show up. He's probably going to show up sometime while I'm asleep, or probably when I'm visiting the doctor, and then I'm going to have to come back and pay him. So I've got a check here written out for the last few dollars I have in my bank account to pay him, and he never showed up. I can't tear the check up. I can't give him the check. I can't just got to sit here on my thumbs and wait for him to reappear like a gopher in February. Groundhog Day, whatever. But one of the things my parents always, something's got to give. Something's got to give. And I'll say this straight up. The thing I'm afraid of is that nothing will give. Nothing will ever break. Nothing will will just keep on, being, bent further and further and further and pushed farther and farther. And nothing will never reach a breaking point. It will just slowly tie our civilization in knots. That we won't go out with a bang. We won't even go out with a whimper. We'll just wake up one morning and everything will be gone, and we won't even remember at what point it happened. That's what I'm afraid of. We'll wake up with the collar around our necks, and we'll never have seen them creeping up behind us to put it on. Like the old boiled frog myth. They used to believe that if you put a frog in a pot of water and slowly turned up the heat, the frog would never jump out until it was too late. If you turn the heat up slowly enough. If you asked the founding fathers when the time was to run, they would have said, they probably would have said it 50 years ago. It's far too late to run, and we've run out of places to run to. Here's a thought to reflect on. For those who've never watched it, watch some. Look up the shows. The World After Man. It's titled something like that. The World After Man. Basically, they're a series of National Geographic or PBS shows that what the world would be like if every human being just suddenly disappeared. What would happen to the world we left behind? And they go from everything from the first couple of weeks to the first 1,000 years or so. Basically put, after 1,000 years, there would be no trace anywhere that humanity had ever existed. In 1,000 years, all our satellites would have fallen out of orbit or drifted away. All our cities would have crumbled to dust. That's the one thing about the movie Wall-E. He'd been chugging along for what, 500 years, after 100 years, that city he was pottling around through would have already crumbled to rust and gravel. If anything, he should have been rolling over verdant green hills, covered with blooming plants. Everything there, everything, the plastics, the plastics, the metals, the ceramic, everything. Would have crumbled away, would have been weathered to nothing. There would be no trace of our technology. Basically put, if you remember the story of the flood, there was several thousand years between the fall of Eden and the Great Flood. And the flood, as described, would have basically destroyed. You could take a civilization as advanced as ours, subject it to what was described by the flood, and afterward there would be no trace left. Absolutely nothing. None of our technology, none of our knowledge, none of our research, none of our architecture. Nothing would survive. Not even the debris and junk we associate with, architectural finds. Because the stuff that we don't have things made, that last thousands of years if you bury them. Most of the stuff we have, what is the thing we're most proud of? Biodegradable. But even stuff like metals and jewelry, we would be corroded away, or ground into oblivion by geological forces. It would be gone, wiped from the earth as if it never were. The only thing of our civilization that might last for that is sitting on the moon. A couple of irradiated hulks from the lunar landings. Those would last 1,000 years or so. Everything else on Earth, gone. Think about that. That could have been a civilization as advanced as anything we have today, more advanced, between the time of Adam and the time of Noah. It could have been unfathomably advanced, with everything we have today and more. And all we have left of it is a couple of paragraphs in the first book of the Bible. Literally, that's all. Maybe not even a full chapter of their culture. We have a list of names, a list of names denoting lineages, and a couple of lines of poetry. The time between Adam and Eve and Noah is one of unfathomable mystery. We picture him running around in like outfits picked out from a Christmas pageant play. I have no idea what they were like. It's one of the things I'm going to wonder the rest of my life about, It wouldn't surprise me if somewhere they might stumble across some long-forgotten archive or tomb or something that had been buried since before the flood. Okay, it is closing in on 9 o'clock. It's been just under 2 hours. It's closing in on 9 o'clock. This has really been a show about nothing in the past few weeks. Just a show with nothing in it. Nothing worth watching. Be nice if I had an actual theme for the show, but I really don't. I may be unavailable the next couple of days, Wednesday and Thursday, because I'm gonna be trying to get some things done. Among other things, you know, preparing to go for that trip to the doctor's office. Praying to God they got a vehicle they can fit me in. The epic saga of Laundry Day tomorrow. There's a leak somewhere in my... I turn on the water to my washing machine. I hear drip, 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 drip. Don't know where the drip is. Can't reach the drip. Couldn't fix the drip if I could find it. So I'm probably going to end it. Basically what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to wash all my laundry tomorrow. Babysit the washing machine the entire time. Yes, please hit a like button, leave a comment, ring the bell, throw money. That's always good too. There are links on the page. There are links on the page to my Patreon page. There are links on my on the screen to my home page. Links to my email. Just if you can see them. It's a bit flashy at the moment. Yes, notice me, senpai! Yes, tell everybody about me. Read my comics, tell them about my comics. Read my fanfictions, tell them about my fanfictions. Find wealthy, generous people. Find the leaders of small countries. We want you to design our flag. Okay, but alright then. I will be seeing you all later. Hopefully. Y'all take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Alright?
This has been another showing of the TV show, of the YouTube show Spleen Squeezance. Please don't sue us. Thank you, thank you.